The Asantes, we all know, is an ethnic group that is located in Ghana, a small country in West Africa. And Asante refers to a group of people who, for a good cause, for their liberation and independence against external domination, decided to come together to form that union. And that is what culminated in the name Asante. Mind you, the word is Asante, but it has been corrupted by the Europeans to Ashanti, which is generally accepted. Now, until then, over 300 years ago, Asante then existed as various autonomous states, namely Jakubu, Bekwai, Jabin, Kwamai, etc., etc. And they were subservient to an ethnic group which was very powerful, and it was called Denchira Kingdom. And as a tribute to the king of Denchira, the Ashantis would every year send gold dust filled, a large pan filled of gold dust, among other things, to the Denchira king. Denchira currently is found in the central region of Ghana. And once upon a time, the Denchira king, among others, demanded for the favorite wives of the Ashanti king and other chiefs of Ashanti. This rather did not go down well with the Ashantis. How could we pay this large amount of gold and you go ahead to demand for our wives as well? So Ashanti sent a delegation back to Denchira to renegotiate this demand by the Denchira king, and they were tortured. They were dehumanized by the Denchira people. So then the need for Ashantis to rise up and then to fight for their independence from the Denchira domination arose. And so Osei II, who happened to be the first king, had established that close relationship with the famous priest I referred to as a prophet, Konfuanochi, who masterminded the union of Asante, that the Ashantis were going to wage war against the Denchira people. And for that matter, he assembled them at a place where currently we have the Konfuanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi. He performed some potions from, the fingernails, blood and things like that, for all the paramount seats that were gathered at Deba. He took it, and that was the symbol of their union. And he said he was going to conjure a stool, and that stool would descend from the skies, and upon whose laps the stool lands would assume the head of all the paramountcies. And that is when we refer to the Asante chief as a king. The golden stool came from the skies and coincidentally landed on his bosom friend, Osei II. That is why we refer to Osei II as the first king of Ashanti. That was in about 1696 to 1701 thereabout. Yeah. So the Denchira king heard what the Ashantis had decided to do, and he made this famous statement. Was it Esanti na omakabu muno? Esanti na omakabu muno. And that's when we have the name Asante. When we say Esa literally means war. Esa literally means war, and the Enti literally means because. So Asante, because of war. So Ashantis, massed up their army to fight the Denchira people. The Denchira king also massed up his army, thinking it was going to be a walkover of the Ashantis. So he marched his army all the way from Denchira land through the forest they met at Bekwai, and then finally the war reached a crescendo at Feyasi, a few kilometers on the Lake Busumchi road from Kumasi. And during the war, the Ashantis ran over the Denchwa people, and the Denchwa king was captured, and his head was decapitated. And back in the days, if you were in a war against any other people and you were able to capture the king and behead him, it means you've won the war. So this became a major taboo in Tamkesie for the Denchwa people. That in Tim Jakari was one in my Abebonu Feyasi, that the great king of Denchwa, Tim Jakari, had carried all his army all the way from his land to collapse it at Feyasi. And that marked the turning point in the history of Ashanti. And that was when the name Asante started. So as I said, hitherto there was no such thing as Asante or Ashanti as is said today. They were all autonomous states. Initially there were about 5 that formed the nucleus of Ashanti. And later on, Ashantis expanded their territory through conquest. And so they were able to incorporate other autonomous states to the larger federation. So Ashanti, I would say, is a group of people that have come together, and it's more of a federation of various states that have come together to form that union. So Ashantis were really conquering people, other groups, and then they were incorporated, subsumed into their fold. And it is said that the Ashanti had conquered, and their territory was about the size of present-day Ghana. So that's when Ashanti had started. But let us also say that Ashanti is part of the larger Akan ethnic group. The Akan ethnic group. When we say the Akan ethnic group, it refers to a people with a common culture, a common language, a common tradition, etc., etc. And they have a common ancestry. Yes, they are said to have migrated from, some say Israel, but I always trace it from either the southern Sudan all the way through to this place, and then from Adansi. Adansi is the seat of the migration of, or the ancestry of the Asantis, or most Akans. Some also say that they migrated and then they established at Techiman, and then there were splinter groups that from Techiman, those who moved to the coastal areas, the Fantis, the Fantis, they broke away to live along the western coast or southern coasts of Ghana. So this is about the Ashantis. Now, why is Ashanti so popular and globally acclaimed as one of the famous ethnic groups in West Africa, or Africa, Black Africa for that matter? It is not for nothing, but for the fact that having expanded their territory through conquest, they decided to solidify their sovereignty through their traditional self-government system or traditional governance structure, where the king was, they had a centralized system of government, where it was a top to the bottom kind of approach of government, where power emanated from the top, that is the king for that matter, and then it came down all the way to the people. This is not to say that the king was an autocratic one. No, he had a cabinet, we call it Feku. Whatever decisions emanated from the Feku, and the king would act on the decisions taken by the cabinet. You understand? Yes. So that's how it came about. And mind you, Ashanti also had so much wealth that when the Europeans came, they realized that the forest belt or the tropical rainforest where the Ashantis lived had so much wealth, natural and mineral resources. And so they decided to come what may, penetrate their fold so they can have access to these resources for their own good. And so Ashantis resisted, and it is said that the Ashantis fought the British in about 7 different wars before eventually the British were able to defeat them and then take over the control of the Ashanti Kingdom. Even then, they maintained some semblance of autonomy or sovereignty for the Ashantis, because they noticed that indeed the Ashantis, they could not do away with the well-established, well-rehearsed, thought out traditional system of government. So they ruled through the king. So Ashanti was not part of the larger Gold Coast. We had the Gold Coast that comprised of Greater Accra, and then all the way through central, western, and the eastern part of Ghana. That formed the Gold Coast colony. It is for that reason that we still have Central region by the geographical name, but not lying in the center of Ghana, because during the Gold Coast colony period, the Central region was lying in the center of the Gold Coast. Ashanti was a province or protectorate for that matter, and then we had the northern territories. It was after the conquest of Yasantua that Ashanti became a part of the Gold Coast. Gold Coast, where the British ruled they adopted this indirect rule system, because all over Ghana, before the Europeans came, we were well, organized, and we had our traditional rulers who governed the people, and it was the network was very strong. So the last of such was between the Ashantis and the British was in 1900 and 1901, and it's that famous war that is credited to this famous warrior queen called Yasantua. And that was when the monarchy and other chiefs of Ashanti had been exiled to the Seychelles Island, precisely in 1896. They were sent to Elmina Castle, and then later on to Sierra Leone Freetown, and then finally to the Seychelles Island in the Indian Ocean. And the British came, precisely British Governor Hudson came to Kumasi, claiming to have come on the orders of the King of England to demand the golden stool of the Ashantis by right. Indeed, the Ashantis had fought so many wars, and the men didn't want to fight any more wars. But Yasantua, the warrior queen, who happened to as well be the chief of a district traditional area, stood up and said, no, we won't let go our sovereignty. The golden stool is the sacred stool of the Ashantis, and it embodies their soul, and it's a symbol of unity. So if that stool was taken away, it means the Ashanti Kingdom, or the people that comprise the Ashanti Kingdom, would disintegrate. So Yasantua mobilized men, and he made this famous statement against the British. She asked, how dare you come to demand for our throne? Can we go to England to demand the crown of the monarch? No. Today, ghost widows would have husbands, and that was a declaration of war. Muslim men go to war, and during war, men die. Lots of people would die, and these men would die and join their widows in the ancestral world. The widowers. So they would go and marry the widowers in the ancestral world. So Yasantua, through that statement, was able to invoke the spirits of the ancestors and massed up about 20,000 Ashanti soldiers. And some history tells us that they fought about 9 months. Others said 6 months, but I'll go for 6 months. And mind you, Yasantua was an old woman. She was an old woman, over 60 years by then. And they fought for so many months. Indeed, Ashantis lost heavily. The British also had some casualties though. And Yasantua escaped. She eloped to seek refuge in a hamlet, and she was betrayed. And in the morning, when she had woken up and cleaned up the environment, she had a kitchen stool where she sat on enjoying the morning sun, and lo and behold, they were the enemies. The British were right upon her. So they took her in that state, where you find a picture of her with a white cloth wrapped around her, just below her breast, above her breast down. That's the only credible picture we have of her. So Yasantua was also captured, and then she was also sent to the Seychelles Island through the Elmina Castle as well. Unfortunately, Yasantua never came back alive. She died there, and in 1992 or 6 thereabouts, I think 1996, through the instrumentality of Nana Kuledu Ajiman Rawlings, that's the wife of former President Jerry John Rawlings. That woman also stood for the African woman. She exemplified the spirit of the African woman. So the remains of Yaa Asantewaa were brought and interred with a befitting royal funeral. Yes, so that's about the Ashantis briefly. But having said that, Ashantis controlled a lot of wealth. So they had that power. Wealth is power. Talk about the gold, and they were able to even capture the castles along the coast, and even the one in Accra, Christianborg Castle, where the Europeans were paying them indemnities, and then later on it was taken over by the British. And mind you, the British alone could not have defeated the Asantes. They had to call for reinforcements from within West Africa and as far as the Caribbean before they could eventually defeat the Ashantis. So the Ashantis resisted the British. They fought them several times, about 7 of different wars, and then finally, that is why the Ashantis seem to be so proud, the people. Yes, wherever they go, I mean, they make their presence heard, and they revere their king such that they see the king as second God. That's why we say, Ose tutu nyame kese. Nyame means God, kese means, mighty. Just as we say in the Bible, God of Abraham, God of David, etc. So the king, also is the embodiment, it's the symbol of unity of the Ashantis, and also the spiritual head of the Ashantis. Even though currently Ghana is in a modern state of government, the king does not have all the powers, have been ceded to the central government, the executive. But because of his stature in the nation Ghana, not only amongst the Ashantis, he still has that reverence, and sometimes his interventions have been called for, that have inured to ensuring peace and unity for the country Ghana. He says that even though he's the Ashantis, he's the king over the Ashantis, he sees himself beyond that. So whatever interventions he's established, he has gone further to other places, notably the eastern region, the Volta region, some parts of the northern territories, to help with his foundations in terms of education, scholarships, and what have you. As for the scholarships that the king has, it goes for all brilliant but needy students at the tertiary level. Briefly about the Golden Stool of Ashanti. Yeah, people think the Golden Stool was seized by the British. It's never true. The Golden Stool is still with the Ashantis, and that is what has ensured that the Ashantis still remain one strong unit of the people. Now, I mentioned this famous priest whom I referred to as a prophet, Komfo Anokye. In Akan, the word Komfo means a traditional priest, and Anokye was his name. As I said, he was a close friend of the first king of Ashanti, Osei Tutu II. So before the Ashantis could defeat the Dentra people, he summoned those states that formed the nucleus of the establishment of the Ashanti Kingdom. That was in 1695-96 thereabout. And the miracle he performed is still visible at Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital, at the hospital now, where he prophesied that where he had performed that miracle will become a major healing center, not only for the Asantes, but for people from all walks of life. So Kwame Nkrumah, having led Ghana into independence, also a typical person who exuded the African personality, decided to fulfill this the prophecy of Komfo Anokye by establishing the hospital, the teaching hospital there, and named it after him. So it's a referral hospital known as Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. Now, Komfo Anokye prophesied that he's going to perform a miracle that will symbolize the unity and the soul of the entire Ashanti people, and that no one can break away from that union. So he, as I said, he took fingernails of each of the paramount chiefs there, took a little bit of their hairs, made a potion of it with their blood, and then they all had a sip, saying that by this act you've all spiritually been bonded. And then he prophesied that he was going to command a stool from the sky. The stool would come and land on the laps of any of the chiefs there, but the person who is lucky to have that privilege, would assume the head of over all the other chiefs. So as I said, coincidentally, Komfo performed the miracle, and it was a hot sunny day, and from nowhere the clouds had formed, and then it was deep clouds that had formed, and the skies had changed color, and he was in a trance. They were playing the drums, and Komfo was dancing. He looked up in the skies, and he was, reciting incantations here and there. And out of the skies splitted into two, and the stool was coming down from the skies. It came and came and came, and on the laps of Osei Tutu, the first king, it landed. It was 100% gold. So he said this golden stool from the day would be the symbol of sovereignty, the symbol of the soul of the Ashantis, and that the king would personify these qualities of the golden stool. That is when we started having king, because we had chiefs of all the autonomous states, and once the golden stool came to land on his laps, he became the king over all of them. Yes, before Osei Tutu, we had other chiefs, but they were not chiefs of the entire Ashanti kingdom. They were chiefs of autonomous states, notably Chumyenchi, Kubiamenfi, Ubriebua, etc. But Osei Tutu is referred to as the first king of Ashanti, and he together with the famous priest, established the Ashanti kingdom, where they expanded their territory through conquest as far as to the north and to the borders of current-day Cote d'Ivoire, down along to the coastal part of Ghana as well. So that's about the golden stool of Ashanti, and these two things are really very important: Osei Tutu the first and the famous priest of Komfo Anokye.
Okay, this is your tour guide again. Michael Kojo is my name. I work with Torchlight Tours, and it's a privilege to be with you once again. We crowned our tour of Accra yesterday, and today we have taken 4.5 journey from Accra to Kumasi. Kumasi is actually the second biggest city, and it's one of my favorite. For obvious reason, I love Kumasi because life is easy and good in Kumasi. So we are going to learn a lot about Kumasi during our stay. I'll be telling you some of the major highlights we'll be going to. But before that, let me give you a brief description, a brief history about Kumasi. We have other people coming in to give us an in-depth history about Kumasi, but I'll just give you a gist. So Kumasi is actually the second largest city in the country. Kumasi is located, or they inhabit the forest area of Ghana. They are in the middle, and they are known as the Golden City. Golden City because part of the Ashanti Kingdom, which has Kumasi as its capital, sits on the largest gold deposit in Ghana. I'm talking about Abuase Anglo Gold mining, which happen to be the biggest. So when you talk about the Ashanti tribe, this is where we are now. The great ancient Ashanti tribe has Kumasi as its capital. In this region, they reverence their king more than the president or any politician. So in Kumasi, the king of Ashanti has a final say in anything. When the king of Ashanti speaks, everybody has to listen. The Ashantis are known to be very brave. They are very industrious, and the war cry of Ashanti is Ukuma Pima Apimbaba. It means when you kill 1,000, 1,000 will surface and come and face you. Their symbol is the porcupine. So the Ashantis protect themselves, like the porcupine protects himself with the squills. So that is the war cry of Ashanti. And today we're going to learn a lot about this kingdom. It's called the Golden City. And like I said, life is very good in Kumasi because it's in the middle area. It serves as a major transitional zone items from the northern part of Ghana to the south always have its transits in Kumasi. So life in Kumasi is very good. We'll be learning more about Kumasi as we travel along. But today our first stop is going to be Yasantua Shrine. The shrine behind us happens to be a very strong monument when it comes to the history and the formation of Ashanti Kingdom. Yasantua, who was the queen mother of Ejiso, at a point during the colonial days, the British wanted to took over the Golden Stool. You know, the Golden Stool is the highest authority of the land in Ashanti. The Golden Stool is the soul and embodiment of the unity of Ashanti Kingdom. The Golden Stool believed to have been conjured from the heavens. So the Golden Stool played a very important role in the history of Ashanti Kingdom. So when the British wanted to take possession of the Golden Stool, it became a great insult. But at the time, the Ashantis has been defeated by the British. The men were very timid. They were very much afraid. Yasantua in his 60s rose up and said that no, we cannot be in our own land and be intimidated by foreigners. She mobilized the men and led them to the war. The war lasted almost a year. Yasantua was captured. In the middle of the war, Ashantis made a replica of the Golden Stool to the British. Ashantis were defeated. The king of Ashanti was captured. Together with Yasantua, they were exiled in Seychelles Island. After many years, the king came back, ruled its people. Yasantua died and she was buried there. So today, we are going to see the shrine which was used by Queen Yasantua, the woman who stood up against all odds, mobilized the men and went to the war against the British. We are going to take the tour of the shrine. The shrine is a sacred place where they do a lot of rituals, atonement to appease God. Occasionally they will come and have other form of ceremony inside. In case you need something, there's something you are hoping for, you will bring a token and you come and make a sacrifice. The chief priest will lead you in this ceremony. So we are going to go inside and take the tour of the Yasantua Shrine. Follow me and learn something new.
Welcome to the Kumasi traditional house in Africa, one of the 10 remaining traditional houses in Africa. Here you are now in the room of Yasantua, the Ghanaian woman who led the war between the British people and the Ghanaian people. That war lasted for a year, as he has been said on. So right now here is the room inside. In the olden days, it was a single courtyard like this, and the Ghana Museum came in hands with the traditional people for a tourism center to build it in a 4-chambered, as each and every place has its own meaning. That place is being signified in their house, and they have a courtyard in which each and every 40 or 42 days in a month, that happens on Sundays and Wednesdays, that they call it Akweside, or they used to sermon on the name of the gods here. And the gods here is called Tano, and that Tano is a day-born god. And that day-born god is being followed on the day of Thursday. So the people, or the entire people here, used to call it Teyao. And that Teyao, when you come to the local, if it was a man, it's being called Yao, Tano. So that Tano that they used to serve that goes here. So each and every Thursday morning, before 6 o'clock, libation is offered in the house. That I want to say, here is still a working house of the Ghanaian people. So they can use its role by performing a nice role of a libation in the house. We have a wine libation and a blood sacrifice libation. Of course, here is a typical traditional house of the Africa. So the 10 remaining, this is one of them, and this perform a nice role among them. So when it's time for the Akweside, a member from the King Palace, that is Otumfo 62, will come to represent that man in hands with them to perform a nice rituals in the house. So we have a specific place here that we use to perform the festival here. Here, when there is a wine sacrifice, they use only wine called schnapps to perform the sacrifice in the house. And when the blood sacrifice to be aimed in the house, they use a cock or a big animal called sheep. And also they offer something to the smaller gods, that is the trophy to see around, and some tiger nuts to the young gods, for them to be satisfied. As a human in the house, you used to satisfy the young ones before sending them to school. Before you perform or you play a role of a libation or pouring a wine into the ground by speaking to one or two words, you have to satisfy the young ones in the gods before coming here to pray to the gods. So some came here for transportation, and the most important sacrifice they made here is the Thursday morning, and each and every 40 or 42 days in a month that happens, called Akweside or the Ukude, they perform a rituals in the house. And this tree here is served as an altar in which libation is offered under it. And this tree serves as the tree of knowledge and wisdom in man. A truly Ghanaian people, when he enters into the house, when he sees that tree, before he speaks to the gods, he must speak wisdom. Because this tree resembles the tree of knowledge and wisdom in man. That is gray hair. We find it in the hair of a man or a human. Because we seek to it that that person speaks wisely. So when you see this tree, before you enter there, you must speak wise to the gods here. So when you move forward, here is the God's room that is being opened once as a 40 or 42 days in a month. This room is not been open for each and everyone to see whatever it is in it, because the deity here is a human being like us. It's being kept in a room for 9 months journey and come out as a human being, and they are about to throw it away because it is a taboo. But a man wished to them that is a self god, that they must have a room, a secret room for that god. So millions of cities can be collected from you, but no one is being allowed to enter into that room. Because I'm here, I'm going to lead you to the room. So whenever I lead you to the room, whether you are going to set free, but I here, I will not be going to set free. That's why it's not been allowed for each and every one here to enter. So now we are moving on to the chamber, then we end up with our communication. But then you can see that when a visitor comes into the house, after you have been taught that person, we have a self-explanatory on the wall that is being written on board with pictures. Then when it gets read, you get more understanding of it. So now here is a chamber that the person who used to cook in the 40 or 42 days used to be, with some audience here. Here is a small place, but it covers more millions of people, and here is a place for the people who used to sit. But let's go to the place that they play the etumpan drum. Here is a place that the etumpan drum, people who used to play it serve. And here is one of the chambers in the house. This etumpan drum serves as a male or a female. No one can tell you that etumpan drum sound the same. No. Is it a male and a female? And the one on the right hand side is the male, on the left hand side is the female. One asks of why. The reason is that we are in an occasion, and whenever a king is in seat, always the queen mother, who used to be the woman who selected the king in that entire community, sits on the left hand side of the king. And on the left hand side of the king, I mean a woman. That is why the drum is a male and a female. The female is on the left hand side. The reason is that each and every man, your heart is on your left. When a man can joke with the heart, he can joke with the woman sitting beside him. So likewise, when something happens strange in that deba, a human is being kept as you protect your heart. For you not to die, a woman is being kept well in that occasion. That's why mostly a female drum is on the left hand side. All these drums didn't sound the same. This drum has been there since the Yas Hantua was, so upwardly it was 300 years plus. And you have a talking drum to support it to sound very well. So these two are supporting drum. And you have the gong beater here that we used to make an announcement in the olden days. An announcement all around the entire community by this gong beater here you'll be walking a 50 meters waywardly, but mostly the funniest thing and the happiest thing is that you can see that that man is being followed by the young ones in the entire community who've been sending the message to their parents. And as I said, here is the most respected chamber in the house that serves as where the God is being placed. So no one is being allowed to enter here, and here is a highly respected place found in the house. Thank you very much.
Okay, this is an exciting time. I was staying in Kumasi. I promise you it's going to be very exciting. Where we are now is Adamumase. Adamumase, it's known for its beautiful kente making. There's a big kente village. That is where we are now. So we are going to learn more about the kente, how they put the string together, how they weave in the, how they sit in the loom and everything. And today we are very happy to have in our midst the man who is the best site guide in the central, in the Ashanti region. When you talk about kente in Kumasi, then you are talking about this man by name Eric Yadom. And anytime you happen to be in Kumasi or Ghana and want to learn much about kente, Adamumase is where you have to come. So please sit on your seat and learn from the man himself, Mr. Eric. Thank you.
You are most welcome to Adamumase Kente Village. My name is Eric. At Adamumase, we offer Kente tour, village tour, and also the Kuku tour. For the Kente tour, I'll give you the history of the cloth and also the materials that we use for the weaving. Thereafter, I'll take you through all the kente making process, how to spin the thread, how to lay the warp, and then the actual weaving. In every step, I will allow the customer to have a try. That means you spin the thread, you lay the warp, and then weave the cloth. But before, let me take this opportunity to give you a very brief history about the kente cloth. Strip weaving has existed in West Africa since the 11th century. So this has been with us long years. And you heard about kente. What is kente? What does it mean? Kente is a visual representation of history, philosophy, ethics, and said values, a powerful cultural symbol and a source of pride both for Ghanaians and African diaspora. So the craft chronicles the local history, which reflects the cultural value of the people. It portrays our culture. For example, if you want to convey a message without writing it or opening your mouth, you can do so by using the kente designs. Every design has a name and also a significant meaning. Let me talk about this one. This design means the road to success is not a smooth way. It is a rough road filled with obstacles, which can be surmounted only through constant toil. So to succeed in life is not always a straight line. It's a zigzag. You have to struggle before you can succeed. So to cut it short, all the design that you see here has names and meaning, which reflect the cultural value of the people. Now, the next question is, how do we get the names and the designs of the kente cloth? Kente designs and names are derived from philosophical concepts. oral literature, individual achievement, historical event, proverbs, human code of conduct, and some attributes of plant and animal life. That is how you get the names and also the designs. For example, we can also name the cloth after important personalities. It can be named after events. Let me give you a scenario. Something happened at World Trade Center somewhere 11 September, if I'm right. Osama bin Laden destroyed that area. So if the situation were to be Ghana, the Ghanaian weavers will weave a cloth and then name after the cloth. So that's the essence of kente cloth. We don't buy the cloth based on the beauty alone, but rather the message it conveys. That's the essence of the cloth. Now, I want to take you through the process. So I will show you how to spin the thread, how to lay the warp, and then weave the cloth. Now let's go to that period and let me show you how we do it. Yeah, please, I would like to show you the materials for the weaving. We have 3 types of material that we use for the weaving. The first one is cotton. And cotton is grown in Ghana, especially in the northern part. So this is the raw cotton. You can even feel it. And when you have, in the olden days, we were using our hand for the spinning. In fact, it was a very tedious work. And nowadays, the demand for kente is very high. So we cannot rely on this primitive method. As I'm speaking, after harvesting the cotton, it goes through some industrial process. And then we have it in this form. You just go to the store, either buy this one or that one. This is already spun in the factory on a plastic spool. But if you buy this type, it will go through this process. We call it spinning. And these are the materials that we use for the spinning. We call this one bobbin winder and then the skin winder. So the step is you stabilize the bobbin winder with your legs, holding the thread with the left hand side. You're going to use the right hand to wind it clockwise. So this is how we do it. If you don't want this process, you just go and buy this type. Straight away, you go out there and then lay the warp. So these are the materials that we use for the weaving. We have cotton, rayon, and then silk. Nowadays, you can have it at the store. Just go there and buy. So these are the materials we use for the weaving. From here, I'm going to show you how to lay the warp and then the actual weaving. You will see a lot of people over there weaving. And for the weaving, we have 3 types: simple weaving, double weaving, and then triple weaving. Yeah. Kente production is in stages. So we are now in one of the stages. We call this one warp laying. Warp laying is a vertical length of thread needed to weave a strip to complete the entire cloth. So here we are going to have the background of the cloth. And when you're laying the warp, it could be any other color. It could be white, green, blue, or any color, depending on the cloth that you want to weave. If you are doing the rare one, it's supposed to be 20 at a time, but I'm using only 4 as a demonstration. And this is how we do it. By holding the spool in your left hand side, you use the right hand to guide it, and then you move back and forth. So right now, I am laying the warp. That is the background of the cloth. Let me also give you this. For the kente cloth, we have a male and a female cloth. So if you want to weave a male cloth and the thread is full here, you'll be moving back and forth for 24 times for a male cloth, while 17 times for female cloth if it is full. But remember, this is just a demonstration. Now let's assume we've got the required number, but it's a little bit mathematical. Before you start this one, you have to ask yourself, how many white do I need? How many green do I need? How many blue do I need? You make all these calculations before you come here. So once it is done, then you take it off. You tie a knot here. Remember, this is just a demonstration. The real one is bigger than this one. It contains a lot of thread. So now you fold it into any reasonable size. You see, this is the finished product of the warp. This is the warp, and from here we are going to set up the loom. What does that mean? Setting up the loom means we are going to put every single thread here into the weaving apparatus. We have the header, we have the beater, we have the shuttle, a loom, and then we start weaving. So from here straight away to the weaving center and show you how to weave the actual cloth. I've told you earlier we have 3 types of weaving: simple weaving, double weaving, and then triple weaving. So from here I'll show you all of them and then understand how the actual weaving is done. Thank you. Let's go straight away to the weaving center.
Yeah, we are now in one of the weaving centers. The major economic activity here is weaving and then farming, but most of the youth are into the weaving. As I showed you earlier, this is the warp material. So after laying the warp, the next step is setting up the loom. To set up the loom means, you see, you put the thread into the material. We call this one header. This is the beater. This is the shuttle, and inside is the bobbin. And this is called pulley. The whole thing is the loom. So now, we have 2 pairs of header. You put the first one, you put the thread here. Then the second, you put that down. So it should be up, down till you fix all this one. And then after fixing this one, you take 4 of these and you put into the beater. The beater contains about 110 holes. So having this in this form, the next step is we are going to weave the actual cloth. And this one is the plain weave or the simple weave. To weave the simple weave, if you are holding the shuttle, this is the shuttle, with your right hand side, you put the right leg down and then you put the shuttle in here and then you beat it. Now it is in the left, you put the left and then you beat it. So right now I am weaving the simple one. For the simple weave, there is no design. It is plain. And it could be any other color. It could be green, it could be yellow, it could be red, or even mixture of colors. But the point is, there is no specific design. It's plain as you see here. So from here, we are going down there to show you how to weave the double weave. For the double weave, you can see the designs as well as the background. And then from there also, I'll show you the triple weave. So let me take you to the weaving side where we weave the double weave. Yeah, I've already shown you the simple weave. So we are left with the double and then the triple. This is a sample of the double weave. You see, for the double weave, it's quite different from the plain weave. The plain weave is plain, there's no design. So as you see this one, there's a design here, covering everything. This is also a sample of the double weave. And it could be any other color. This is black and white. This is red and black. And let's see the gentleman weaving the double weave. Let's see how it is woven. It's very, very interesting. So the gentleman here is weaving the double one. For the double weave, how do you identify it? That one, you can see designs as well as the background. The background is white, but you can still see some black and white designs over there. Unlike the plain weave where it is plain, there's no design. You see how the design is done.
Now let's move further to another weaver. Yeah, you have seen the plain weave, that is sample of the plain weave. You've also seen the double weave. Now, this is the triple weave. The triple weave is the most complex one, and it's very, very expensive, and it takes a lot of time. How do you identify the triple weave? For the triple weave, we use 2 pairs of headers. If you look at the simple weave, we use only 1 header, but this one is 2 pairs of header. And also, always designs has covered the entire background. You will not see the background at all. The background could be blue, it could be brown, it could be yellow, but when you look at the design design has covered the entire background. That one is the triple weave, the most expensive one and also difficult one. So in the nutshell, you've seen the 3 types: simple weave, double weave, and also the triple weave. Now, let's go ahead and see other weavers weaving the double weave. After that, you will see somebody also in charge of weaving the triple one. And you understand how difficult, how tedious the work is. Yeah, so now look at the gentleman. The gentleman here is weaving a sample of the double weave. This time the color is red, gold, and then white. And the meaning of that design is we can live together. It's just a matter of understanding. If you have understanding for each other, there wouldn't be any problem. I've told you earlier that kente is not just a mere cloth. It portrays our culture. It's a medium of communication. So if you want to tell somebody something without using your verbal this thing, you can use the design. This one to the gentleman is weaving. It's a double weave. Yes, so the color is red. And for Ghanaian, red represents danger. Or we use red for funeral celebrations. That's the color we use for funeral celebration. White is for victory, red is danger, blue is fertility. So all the colors, apart from the design, has its own name. We are back. Let's talk about the use of the kente cloth. Kente can be used as a bodily attire. It can be used as a tie, flying tie, or a bow tie. You can also have kente purse. You can also have kente postcard. So once you have the fabric, you can decide whatever that you want to use it for. Yeah. Now, let me demonstrate to you how we put on the kente cloth. This is for the male one. It's about 10 years. So to put on the cloth, this is the procedure. The first step, you put it at the back, and then you divide it into 2, like this one. And this, the left hand should also be divided into 2 like this. And then you put the whole thing under your armpit. You hold this like this one. You put the right hand on top of the left. And then the last one, you roll it. So this is how we put on the cloth. But remember, there should be a native sandals. And then you put on your white shirt. That is how you put on the glove, and then you move majestically. This is also sample of the female one. But you can create any style that you want once you have the fabric. Now, I wish to convey my warmest appreciation and gratitude for you for coming here. What we are doing here is a community-based textile tourism. The purpose is to raise the standard of living of the people. We started 2005. Since then, people have been coming here. The revenue that we collect is not for an individual. It's purely for the entire community development. I quite remember when we started 2005, 2008, we put up 18 bedrooms for teacher accommodation for that revenue that we got. So indirectly, the tourism work is helping almost everyone in the community. So I'm taking this opportunity to appeal to everyone that if you want to buy kente, why not come to Kumasi? You have it in a very affordable price. It's very, very cheap and also durable. Thank you very much, and may the Lord richly bless you all.
Hello, this is your guide again, Ben Kwesi Annan of Kumasi Walking Day Tour. And guess where I am? I am in Tonso Edinkra village. And I'm here with my brother, Peter. He is the local curator here. So he's going to take us through the Edinkra symbolism here.
Okay, so you are welcome to Ntonso. And my name is Peter. And here they will prepare the traditional dye. They are making a Dinkra club. And when somebody say a Dinkra means farewell or goodbye. And they will prepare the natural dye, only black color, they prepare it here. And before you can get the color, if you don't get this particular tree, you can't get the dye. And this tree called Badie is the back of the tree. And this one, you can grow it here or you can get it here. It's for the north, it's part of Ghana, only place you can get this. And I can say that people don't know how to use. It's a generation. When I stand here, it's a fifth generation to me. Because my father do this work past to my brothers, my fathers, my stepfather, all of them passed. And now it's my turn because they don't want the generation should be passed. That's why they also try to keep on doing this. So when they bring this one down, I think you saw my sister here, they use sharp knife to take the dirty ones out to make it in pieces like this. And after you get this one, when you look, you have these pieces here, you leave it in just water. Ordinary water. You leave it on water here to soak it for 1 day. Then after 1 day, when you see it, you get it soft. And after getting this one, you have this big mortar here. You send it to the mortar, and this are the pestle. So you pan it like fufu. Okay, you pan all of them until you get this soft one, because if you don't get this one, you can't get the dye. So when you have this, so you move from here to this place, you send it to the fire. So these are the bases. So when you look, it's right now empty, and these are the ready one for preparing it. So you divide the liquid into two. Each one should be half. And after you divide it, you add water, you put firewood under on this. So you leave it on fire for 4 hours. And first 4 hours, they use this knot to bring it in so you can see. They use this knot and the basket to sieve it or to strain like this, so that you remove the particles away. So go like this. And the particles will be on the top here. And and this is the dye. And this is the first color you get from the dye. And when you have this, and the next day, you send this one back to fire again, then you keep on fire. And you see the color, the more you leave it on fire, and the more it's coming dark. I think when you look here, and these are the final product. It's hot. You see, you get dark like this, black one like this. If you don't get this thick one, you can use it to make your own printing or to prepare to do a dinkra, the traditional cloth. And before you can get this one for 1 week on fire, you don't add anything to it, only the water in the bag. You don't need to just get more firewood, leave it on fire day and night for a week. So when you have this, you have your symbols, you can do any design if you want to do. So from here, you go outside and see the symbols. We also have singing ribbon kente outside, so you can do your own stamping. Thank you for first demonstration. They are now preparing the dye. When you see here, the dye is here. And before you can get the dye, you need to get the symbols and the traditional symbols. If you don't get these symbols, you can make your own design or you can stamp it in crack off here. And the symbols is made of calabash. I think when you see the new one, and this is calabash. And after carving it, you need a top here, and this is the bamboo tree. You're supposed to use the bamboo tree to do the handle, because if you don't have this, you can hold this way and stamp. So when you look through the board, there are different symbols here, and each one have meaning. Some are the traditional, some are not traditional. And for instance, the first one called Jinyame, except God, or I can say only God can do it. And when you saw the second one, this one, and this one called Aya, like you are here, you are not afraid of me, I'm not afraid of you. And when you see this one, and this one called Obin Kendi, bite not one another, like do me, I'll do you, tit for tat. And this also called Akofra, that's the king's sword, protection. And when you go to King Palace, you can see a lot of people are holding this, the swords on the front of the king. That's why they call it protector. And this one they call it forgiveness. That is Shewanshi. When somebody offends you, you have to forgive him. And they also have Sankofa, back to your roots. And this three symbol with one meaning. The bird one is old and the other two is new. This three symbol is the same. They also have beauty, the comb. And the tree name is Biafin. And these are the new ones also. This one called Sisa Usubai, change your life, symbol of repentance. And they also have Odo Angel Fiuquine. This is power of love. So when you look here, they have many symbols. And this is, that is the war horn. So from here, they're going to do the printing on the board. So you move, you take the symbols to this place. So I'm going to use this one first, Jinyame. So you dip it inside the pot, shake it smaller. Then go down, then up. This one called Aya. Good.
What's the meaning of Aya?
This one, symbol of defense.
It's Sankofa. Sankofa means go back to your roots. This symbol means tit for tat.
Do me, I'll do you.
If you do me, I do you. So in Africa, when you come here, you don't do what will not please you to others.
Yes.
Wow. So this is Nyamidia, place of worship. You know, Africans, we are spiritual beings. We believe in supreme being. So this is the place of worship. Anywhere you find yourself that you want to engage with your mighty, with your supreme being, this is the simple. place of worship. Hey.
The last one, unity and diversity.
Unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. Let's agree to disagree. Thank you so much. So this is a beautiful strip we have done. It was led by the man himself, Peter. Anytime you are in Kumasi, in Tonso Craft Village, it's a must to see. It should be on your tourism calendar. And when you happen to be around, remember to look for the man himself, Peter. He will take you through the tour. And if you get through Ben Kumasi Day Walking Tour, he will bring you here. And this is Torchlight Tours. We are very much happy with the beautiful strip we have done. Thank you so much. All right, so this is your tour guide, Michael Orleans from Torchlight Tours. As I told you earlier, Kumasi is the place to be when you are in Ghana. Where we happen to stand out is called Anya. It forms a very important part of the craft villages in Kumasi. This is where they carve all the fineness of artifacts you can see around you. You can see they are carving the stool. This is what they do daily basis. So when you happen to visit Ghana and you come to Kumasi, remember to visit Anya. Here the prices are not fixed. This is where you try your bargaining skills. So add Anya to your visit anytime you are in Kumasi to pick any of the souvenirs, hand carved artifact. Fertility dolls, stool, everything can be found here. They have carved this for Asian. So this is Anya for you. Enjoy whilst we take you around. Right, so welcome to the Anya Craft Village. This is one of the craft villages we have in Kumasi. This is Anya, and here they specialize in wood carvings. So any form of wood carving you are looking for, when you come to Ghana, any form of wood carvings you are looking for, Anya is a place to come to. When you come here, you will have variety of wood carvings to choose from. Marks and a lot of items being carved with wood. These people are very skillful. They have done it for ages. So I recommend Anya Carving Village to you. In case you happen to be in Kumasi, you should add this village as one of the must to see during your visit to Kumasi. Thank you so much and enjoy the area.